Hello and welcome to NARC Live on Wednesday the 22nd of September 2021, coming to you live from Norfolk on the east coast of England with Tammy M0TC.
Hello.
And me, David G70RP. Good to see you. On tonight's show, it's our photography special and we've got over 100 pictures and 2 videos from you to share. We've got pictures from the Sunday Fun fox hunt, which didn't go completely to plan. And we find out what on earth is this. Now, we have had some guesses or even informed answers by email, but if you think you know what that is and you didn't get round to emailing us, then you can put it now on either BATC or Facebook and we'll read them all out in a little while. So good to see you. Now, last Sunday, it was our last fox hunt of this year. I know fox hunts aren't for everybody. Direction finding, radio direction finding, in other words, in case you just watched and wondering what we're talking about. It's basically where people like mad go around the country trying to find the fox who's transmitting every 5 minutes from somewhere in Norfolk. But lots of people find it lots of fun. And we had 6 teams turn up for this. But it didn't go quite to plan. I mean, we do try and put quite a lot into organising it. I do, I guess. And also the fox, who does an awful lot of work behind the scenes. But we had quite a few things go wrong. In fact, the first thing was about 20 past 10. I got a text from one of the hunters who just turned up at the car park to say the car park was full. By the way, we start from Thorpe Recreation Ground. So I said, okay, no problem. Texted him back and say, actually go to the overflow car park. A few minutes later, I got another text saying that one was full. So that didn't sound too good. I arrived there to find 3 football matches going on there. I know I should have thought about it, Sunday morning football and everything else. And all the car parks were pretty full. So that was the first problem. We also found a little bit later that the fox wasn't actually on the Ordnance Survey paper map that we said it was. And of course people come prepared sometimes with electronic ones, which would have been fine, but sometimes with paper ones where they draw coordinates and everything else. You saw the video from before probably. And it was just off that map. So strangely, Ordnance Survey, if you buy a map from them for online use on an iPad,
more bang for your buck.
You get more bang for your buck. It didn't help us much because James used the electronic one. What else happened? Oh yes, and I did a typo when I came to doing the little maps that were in the envelopes. That means if you can't find the fox, you open the envelope and you use a postcode to find the fox. And I got 2 of the letters around the wrong way. We found out a little bit later on. And finally, and for me, the most worrying thing is that the place we decided to go to after they'd found the fox for Sunday lunch, and all of us sit outside, we've got the weather nice and everything else, they would not take reservations on tables outside. So what had to happen is that myself and then Kevin and 2 of his children had to go to this place, which is the Village Inn in Melton, and sit on 4 big trestle tables outside for a couple of hours to wait for everybody to arrive. Apart from that, it was all fine. Anyway, let's show you what the video was. James has put together this lovely video mixed up with pictures and things from that he and Lynn took at the Fox, and I took some pictures when I could at the sort of start where everybody was trying to find somewhere to park. Have a look. This is what happened on Sunday. Oh, so was it fun? Well, I'll ask the lady herself who was part of her Foxy Ladies team. Was it fun, firstly?
It was.
Because that's the whole point of it. I know it's not for everybody, and not everybody's idea of fun on a Sunday morning, but it sort of went okay at the end, and we all had a nice meal at the Village Inn as well, after we'd reserved 4 tables with 2 children and 2 adults. That got a bit challenging at times. But anyway,
we found the fox. That was the main thing.
You did, and I was just about to announce that, actually. These are the little envelopes that people take, and we hope they'll never open, and these are still sealed. And these are from the only 2 teams who actually found the fox by direction finding. The other ones who turned up had opened the envelope and then swapped the postcode around so that they could find it, because it's a brand new housing estate, not on many maps, of course. So that's the cunning bit about it. Anyway, in second place... I'm sorry, Tammy, it's the Foxy Ladies who found it in 14.6 miles.
Not bad, not
so
bad.
There was you and Katie and Stephanie.
Yeah.
Right, that was the Foxy Ladies. But in first place, who won this friendly, it was Team Account. Wrong direction, but the right direction. They did it in 14 miles exactly. So well done to Ben and David, who got that. So well done to everybody and for those taking part. That's the last. We'll bore the rest of you if you're not interested in fox hunting. I appreciate that, but we did want to do that. And thank you ever so much again, once again, especially to James and Lynn, who were the foxes, did all the videoing and everything there. There's lots of work that is involved with doing that. I'm sure we all want to thank them as well. It was one of those safe activities that we felt we could run outside where people don't have to mix with anybody else in any close proximity. And I'm glad that we were able to do it. Now, the other thing to tell you about, we haven't actually had any news from you this week. That was from the weekend from us. And then, so I thought I would just tell you about this coming Monday, the 27th of September. We've actually got a Tonight at 8 presentation, which is probably something that some of you might have seen. It's something that Tammy and I present once a month for the RSGB. This is actually an extra one because we've got the convention next month. And as you can see, it's all about repeaters, how they're built, planned, commissioned and used. With Steve Morton, F4 VFT, because he lives in France now, but his regular UK call is G8SFR. Lots of information. What's a repeater, even in its most basic form? What is required to put a repeater on the air? Are all repeaters connected to the internet? Is a simplex gateway an alternative to a voice repeater? And what does the Emerging Technology Coordination Committee, the ETCC, do? Because they're the ones that kind of pass on our applications to Ofcom. So lots more information. If you're interested in that, that's on Monday at 8 o'clock live, and you can find out more details about how to go onto it using that link on the top right of your screen now at rsgb.org/webinars. That's it. So don't forget to let us have your news and your pictures of the things that you've been doing during the week. But now, Tammy, over to you for your little people.
The little people, yep. Here's the little people for this week. It's the harvest moon.
Oh, is that rice?
Yes, Rice Mountains. And I'm not quite sure what the moon is actually, but there's a little man on top of one of the hills with a telescope, so it jumped out at me.
Yeah, it's good. You don't know is that a cheese football, do you think?
I don't think it's a cheese football.
No?
It looks more fruity. It's probably like a piece of mango or something.
Oh yeah, maybe. All right, well that's really good.
It's lovely orange moon though.
As we always say at this time, thanks to miniature-calendar.com for letting us show that every week. And thank you, Tammy, for picking it as well. So now we're around to that competition. Now, if you saw the picture that we put on last week's show and also on Facebook and on our newsletter, it was a picture like this. What on earth is this? Have we had anybody guess?
Oh, we haven't had anybody guess.
No, okay. I thought it was...
I don't think... Let me just have a quick look. I don't think we've had anybody guess.
For what it's worth, I think it's difficult. All right? And it is maybe one of those things either you know or you don't. But we've had some good guesses about what it does. And I know now what it does, but I didn't know before. So, let's read them out. From David, G3VSJ, he says, is that thing an early type of coat and belt hanger? I can see that. In the wardrobe, something like that. Colin M0 GMK says it's a barrister's wig and gown hanger. Paul G3VPT says, would it be a hanger for a large padded bra to hang up in the wardrobe? Well, there's only one person who can ask about this. Tammy? No, not me, just cheeky. Tammy, what do you? I mean, would that?
Possibly.
I'm going to get into trouble if I carry on anymore in that line. So I'll move on to saying what Andy G0SUM says. I believe it's to do with lighting and placement of church candles. And look at it. It does look like kind of the two sort of candle holders, doesn't it?
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I thought those two bits at the side actually looked like, like the mouthpiece on a trumpet.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Anyway,
I don't think it's a trumpet, though.
No, I don't think it's a trumpet, and it's not one of those things for brass, because we're not going to mention that anymore, are we?
No.
Okay, so Mark M0UMG says that is a judge's wig and gown hanger. I'm glad to hear that you haven't seen one. And then he says, yet. What's that mean, Tim?
Wow, you better be good.
And Simon M0SIH says that item shown on What on Earth Is This is a barrister's wig and gown hanger. Did you know that at home? Let's have a look. Is that what it is, Tammy?
Sorry, I was just looking at the script, which I shouldn't do probably. I thought you'd missed one off.
I had skipped back, and if you hadn't have mentioned it, nobody would know.
Oh, sorry.
Anyway, let's reveal what it is.
It is a barrister's. I put coat and wig hanger. I should have put gown. Sorry about that.
Oh yeah, okay, gown and wig
Gown
hanger.
and
I'm
wig
glad
hanger.
we really didn't know what that was. And if you didn't
No.
know at home, I suggest that maybe that's a good thing.
I did Google it to try and find an actual picture with one on, but I found lots of those hangers, but none actually showing a wig and gown on. So.
But I was actually genuinely impressed, the people that knew, because I just thought, wow, this is amazing. Anyway, we must thank Gordon G0HQJ, because he sent us that mystery object, and you really got quite a lot of people fox with that. Thank you very much. Just a little plug now before we go and see this week's. I mean, we are still looking out for these. We were sent quite a few at the beginning, but we haven't been sent any more, as far as I remember. So if you've got a mystery item, it doesn't have to be a tool. Like we've featured lots of electrical engineering type tools, but if you've got something else, please dig out a picture of it or take a picture of it and send it to us. We'd love to see it. Anyway, let's have a look at this week's competition. What on earth is this? Something I feel a bit more comfortable about now. So it's obviously a bit of electronic-y stuff, isn't it? This is, I can't really give you any clues or anything. This came from Paul, G3VPT. He sent us this picture. I guess being radio amateurs, we should know vaguely, but there's something specific about this. So what on earth is this? Let us know by next Wednesday at 3 o'clock to radio@dcpmicro.com, and we will reveal to all what it is. Have a good look. But we'll be putting this on our Facebook page and on our website and on a newsletter this weekend as well. And you've got till Wednesday at 3 o'clock to let us know if you know what that is. Intriguing.
Okay.
Okay, so let's just have a look at and see what's happening on your club next week. On GB2RS, the GB2RS News is on Sunday at 7 o'clock on GB3NB repeater. On Monday, the 27th of September, we've got the Monday Night Net on GB3NB, and this week is hosted by Mike, M0TVG. At 8:30, we've got the 80-metre CW Net. And next Wednesday, the 29th of September, I know this is going to interest lots of you now. We're getting back into a bit of radio now, because it's going to be more on the end-fed half-wave antenna with Steve Nichols, G0KYA. Now, this is a project which we did, I think we covered it probably 10 years ago, and then Steve did an update about 4 years ago, from what I can see, 2017. Lots of people made these things. Steve will be producing a little handout as well, which we'll be able to email to you with the newsletter as well. You'll be able to see where to get the bits and pieces from. But they're very effective antennas and very simple because they're end-fed. So, and if you're watching and you're not sure what that means, it means basically that they all just come from one end. So you haven't got to have a big dipole up with a cable hanging down in the middle. So it's ideal for sort of gardens and things like that, where you just feed it from the end near your shack. And hopefully you'll find that really interesting. So that's next week. The theory, looking at monoband and multiband versions, including how to build your own for bands between 80 and 10 meters. Plus, of course, we do ask for you to send in your news and everything else, and regular stories and pictures and anything else that you've been doing as well, to radio@dcpmicro.com. Now, as some of you know, I mentioned at this point that, you know, we had a discussion about a month or so ago to see what you would like happening with your club. And at the moment, I think the appetite generally was not to have formal meetings. So we're going to carry on doing this NARC Live every Wednesday. But this is a serious plea now, and I have asked a few times before. It's a lot for us to fill every single week with something different. It's a lot also on our programme secretary, Roger G3LDI, to find talks. Obviously, in normal times, we'd have informals, we'd have tabletop sales and things like that to split them up. But because we're doing this online, we need a subject, an idea every week. So if you see any talks online that you like, please note them, or even try and find some for us. That would really help. If you've got a talk in you, please let us know. We would love to see talks by club members. It isn't just down to the same usual 2 or 3 like that. And we'll help you with any aspect of that. And we can do it more of an interview style if you like as well. So you don't have to come up with lots of formal slides. But we really do mean that. Getting to know, we'd love to do another getting to know, but we need people to volunteer to come forward and say, you know, I've had quite an interesting life. I think people will be interested. And we'll help you again do that. So this really is a plea now. We're going to carry on doing this every week now for quite a few more weeks, probably through to Christmas, maybe even beyond. But we need your help. This is your club, and we do need your contributions in terms of ideas, talks, if you can do one, and other things like that. So please do help us with that in that way. And the other thing to let you know, of course, we've been sending these cards out. And we're always happy to send one of these cards to anybody you know who might be cheered by it, who's celebrating an anniversary or a birthday. Just drop us an email with their name and address and the reason what it's for, and we'll be happy to add your name to ours and send it off to them. Okay, now I think we're coming up to... I've had someone has put a note on. I don't know who
Andy
has done it. Oh, it's Andy, is it? Saying that there's a contest tomorrow night, data 80 metres, all logs needed. There we are. So that's the contest tomorrow night as well, if you're a member of our contesters team. So let's get back to tonight. Now, you've really excelled yourselves again. We're never sure, really, especially when you're making a whole programme based on photographs. Some of you left it a little bit later to do it, but it didn't matter because we were sent them from, I think, last Wednesday night. We were sent some, and right through the week. And we've spent last night and today putting these together. So we're really happy to share these with you. This is called a photography night. It's an opportunity not just to share things like wildlife, which we've done before, but all sorts of photography. And thank you ever so much to everybody who took time to send us some pictures.
Well, before we do that, we should probably just say hello to the people we've got at home.
True, absolutely. Yeah, let's say hello to them. Some of them, I think, are people who've sent them pictures in.
Yep.
So there we've got Les, Ken, Tony, John, Tony, Michael, Nev, Bob and Paul. Now, Bob looks like he's coming from an interesting place. He's wearing a mask, which is a bit unusual. You wouldn't normally do that in your house. And look, do I see an airport there? I think he's going to pick someone up. Remember, family member from the airport, isn't he?
Yeah, well, I was earwigging a little bit on their conversation.
Oh, were you?
He's actually at Heathrow.
Oh, it's Heathrow Airport.
Yeah,
well, thank you
to
all of you for joining us, but especially thank you to you, Bob. Because that's really beyond... He's even wearing his shirt, look.
Oh, look
now,
at that.
Now, that is duty.
Yep.
Going to Heathrow, promoting the club and doing there. Thanks very much for joining us. All right, to all of you, though. We will come to you as well. If you've submitted a picture, rather than us read your words, it would be nice if you can as well. And looking around them, actually, I think everybody there has given us some pictures.
Lovely.
So we'll come to you when it comes to that part of it. Excellent. But let's start with our first pictures in no particular order. We'll start with Lorna 2E0POI, who has sent us some of these pictures, and she says that she sent a few pictures from her taken with a fairly low budget mobile phone. Well, that's a pretty good start for a mobile phone picture.
Look at that one. Lovely. Lovely colouring.
Beautiful, yeah.
Those are poppies, aren't they? I think those.
I think so.
Really lovely. Everybody loves a ladybird.
Mm-hmm. They're supposed to bite though, aren't they?
They're supposed to, but I don't think I've ever been bitten by one, so there you go.
I've been bitten by a ladybird, but that's something completely different. Anyway, carry on.
That's all lovely. Thank you, Lorna.
I'm already in enough trouble this week.
Yeah, you are in trouble.
All right, let's now Now, next pictures that we've got come from Paul.
Yeah, we've got one picture from Paul.
N1AFQ,
so
and
I
he's
don't
there.
know.
So let's go now to Paul.
Can we hear Paul?
And let's unmute you, Paul.
No, I think Paul needs to unmute himself.
Okay, Paul, if you can unmute and you can tell us about this picture. Let's put the picture up anyway.
Yeah.
You'll need to unmute, Paul, because we can't. There we go.
I've got it.
We can hear
There
you.
you go. Yeah. No, this is. I had. We've got some pine trees at the bottom of our garden, and over the years we've had some magpies in there, and there's 3 of them this time, and they're really noisy, and they don't normally come nearby, but one of the 3 tends to come a bit closer, and I think I'm sort of gradually gaining his confidence. Because he jumped onto my doorstep the other day, and he looked at me, sat there in the kitchen, not far from him, and he see a little bit of bread on the mat outside the door, and looking at me and looking at the bread, he decided to go for it and took it. But
well, living up to their name,
then.
Living up to their reputation, really wonderful, beautiful colour.
They're beautiful. They are,
Yes.
but they look after everything that's in that tree. Whether it be pigeons, little tits or anything, these boys look after them. They're amazing.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for sharing that picture with us, Paul.
No problem.
Thank you. Right, that's good. Now, the next pictures that we have are from Bob. Now, I'm not sure, Bob, if you can stick your thumb up or not. If you're able to talk us about this through. Yeah, okay, he's sticking his thumb up, so he's now going to tell us and the whole of Heathrow Airport about these pictures. So here we are, Bob.
You need to unmute yourself, Bob.
Yeah, you'll need to unmute, Bob, actually. Let's see what the signal's like live from Heathrow Airport. We never thought we'd be saying that, did we? I think you need to unmute, Bob. We can't hear you at the moment, and we've unmuted here, so...
Can you hear me now?
I
We
can.
can.
Yeah, we haven't got your picture, though, but okay.
Right. Okay. It's very small on my iPhone, but at least I can just about make it out. That's where we saw the owl couple months or so ago. I can't remember exactly when it was. Going out and feeding its chicks. They went to the park and went up and got the 3 chicks out to ring them. So this is the first. That's the chicks there in a bag.
Oh, wow.
And it's only been done by special people. Nobody can do this except people that are licensed to. It's like my
Right.
son is just walking out now, so I can't really.
No, it's
that's
okay,
right.
Bob. You
Don't
go.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Bob. We'll come back to this late. We'll read the words up and come back to us if you can.
Okay, mate.
Thank
no
you.
problems.
Thanks ever so much.
All right. See you later. Bye.
Lovely. Thanks. Thank you very much, Bob. Well, that's very sporting of him anyway to join us.
I've got one more here. Look, that's
Yeah.
a lovely little thing, isn't it?
I think Bob's going to be busy with other things. So should we just go through his other
We'll go through his
pictures
other pictures
as well, I
and
think?
then we can
Yeah.
always come back to him for a little bit more
Really
detail.
good to
Look at that.
come to us from the airport.
Lovely, isn't it?
That is fantastic. A lovely picture. Just the expression and everything. You know when they said, whoever said that a picture's worth 1,000 words, that's one of those, isn't it? Okay.
Okay.
Now this is his wife Sue, who's sitting with 3 old friends at Niagara Falls drinking coffee. That is, I mean, I wish he was here to explain about that, because I can't tell you any more than that. That's what Bob wrote to us. They look strangely, I mean, we can see they're dummy, sort of, but I don't know, the one sitting to her left, our right, looks strangely, could be real.
It's Lizzie, isn't it?
Is it?
Is that?
I don't know.
It's the Queen.
You mustn't say things like that.
Oh, I'm not allowed to say it's Lizzie.
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm sorry.
It's
It's the
an
lady.
Elizabeth, not necessarily the Elizabeth. All
Anyway,
right.
on to the next one quickly.
Let's have a look at the next one. This was, he said that he did international boat transportation, and apart from normal boats, he took the Upper Thames club boats to a contest in Torino. I was going to say, that doesn't look like the Thames, the Upper Thames. Not when I last went anyway. Okay. This is beautiful, isn't it? While staying in Cebu, I think that is, we watched a sunrise and a sunset. Cebu. Is that Cebu? You're the pronunciation expert here. Now. Okay. Beautiful, that's the sunset.
So many different colours, aren't there? It's lovely.
Now, Bob's granddaughter's aged 10 and she painted her favourite stones that she collected from various beaches and Wookie Hole for her project at school.
It's really cool. Vegetable kids, isn't it?
It is.
Lovely.
So thank you very much, Bob.
Yep, thank you,
I'm sure
Bob,
we all
for
understand
those.
he's just meeting his son at the airport. So that's great. Thank you for sending those in, Bob. Now, the next picture. Oh, I'm getting excited now.
Are you?
Can we show the picture?
We
and then
can
I'll
show
read
the
the words.
picture.
This is from Tom G8XQD. It says, David, I seem to remember you mentioning the Royal Scot on the subject of radio on a train. Well, a YouTube video immediately got uploaded and I remembered my ornamental rail set up at picture rail height in my hall. Attached is a photo of my 00 model of the Royal Scot. Feel free to publish, he says. Oh, I'm intrigued about the smoke or the steam. How he's done that. Do you think he's added it on with Photoshop?
No, I should think,
Do you think
because
it's
he said
real?
it's on a picture frame
Oh,
on the
okay.
wall. I suspect that is actually painted on the wall, and the train doesn't move. It's like, you know how you hang a picture up. I suspect he's hung the train up, and it's just painted that on the wall behind to make it look like this.
Grand.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Now the next
Go
picture
straight to the next picture, yeah.
comes from, I wonder if you can guess, well, of course his name's up there now. That, as you probably wouldn't recognise him, is Nigel 2E0NLK, and he says that it was an all-weekend event 2 weeks ago playing Airsoft. All the weapons are RIF, which stands for Real Imitation Firearms. The one he's holding is a 1-to-1 scale of an I-85A2, and the one on his leg is a Glock 19. The I-85A2 fires in at 345 FPS. Now, do you think that's something per second?
Feet per second.
Oh, that's the speed. Yeah, 345 feet per second. And the Glocks fire in at 330 FPS. And both take 6mm BB, which is some kind of little
With the little
pellet
ball
thing, isn't it?
things, aren't they?
And yes, the object is to hit the opposing team players. Very
Ouch.
good. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for sending us that, Nigel. So what, you read one now, Tammy?
Well, actually, we've actually got some pictures from Nev next.
Oh, good, okay.
So,
Well, let's bring Nev up then.
Nev, are you... you need to unmute.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm unmuted.
Hello, right. We picked a few
Let's
pictures
see
from
Nev
your
then.
website. You want to see Nev? Okay, hang on a sec.
Sorry,
No,
Tammy,
that's
put you in
fine.
there. There we go.
There's Nev. Hello, Nev.
Hi. So you just picked a few.
I picked a few. To be honest with you, it wouldn't let me see lots because it kept talking about permissions and stuff. I didn't have permission to look at things. So I just got a few that I could get. So anyway.
Well, there are about 17,500 pictures
Okay.
there. So,
I didn't quite get that many. Okay, here we go. This is the first one. I'm sorry, I'm putting you on the spot here because if you've got 17,000 pictures on there, then you might not know what all these are.
well, that looks like it's a group of mushrooms. I can't remember where exactly they're from. It might be Anderson's Meadow.
Lovely, lovely colours.
Yeah. Or they might have actually just come from around the corner. That's our local Robin Redbreast who loves to visit our bird table.
Now, do you know what? When I see a robin, I mean, they all kind of look the same when I see them, but seeing that one, he really looks like he's got some character, something about him.
Oh, he's a right poser.
Yes, he is, isn't he? It's just lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's up in the Orkneys. Scarab Ray, the Stone Age village. Where is it? It's on mainland. It's in, like I say, it's in the Orkneys. It's well worth a visit if anybody's into ancient habitats. It was originally excavated by the Victorians who, as Victorians do, they dug it all up, took it apart and then rebuilt it. the custodian tells me they rebuilt it about 50 yards away from where they found it.
Oh dear. Lovely, lovely vivid colours.
Right.
Oh yes. Now, if you look underneath the banner that the guy is holding, you can see a little symbol. It looks like a J and an F. That's the artist's signature. It's not Banksy, but this guy has made loads of these all around Norwich. Unfortunately, they don't last for too long, but I have made a habit of going around and getting them when I can, because I think they're very good, and they all have some kind of political message.
I mean, it looks kind of like it sort of fits in with the wall, but is it actually a poster, or has someone actually painted that on there?
It's painted.
It is it? Wow.
It is painted on.
Yeah.
It's great, isn't it?
It is. Such talent. I can't draw for toffee. Okay.
Oh, no, that was when I was doing the West Highland tour. I can't remember the name of that lock. But I'd stopped off in a local car park for let's say, a call of nature. And I just looked back over my shoulder and I saw that. If I remember correctly, that lake is about a quarter of a mile from the sea, but it's about 300 feet up. So there's a glorious waterfall that you can't see at the far end.
Wow, lovely.
That's beautiful, yeah.
Oh, no, that was taken at the Eden Project.
Down in Cornwall, isn't it?
Down in Cornwall. I can't tell you what the name of the plant is, but it really caught my attention. It's only about so big.
Yeah.
Well, of course you won't be able to see what I'm
No.
holding my hand up. Yeah, I'm hoping everybody's remembered to pin you so they can see the pictures and not me talking.
Yeah.
I think most people are actually probably watching online.
Yeah.
But
That is it now for your picks, Nev. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Nev.
I'll just go.
It's
back
good to
you.
see you.
Okay. And if anybody wants to see any more, you can give out my web address.
Are you sure? Okay, all right. Well, we'll publish that. I don't think we've got that right to hand at this second, but
Yeah, you'll discover that this grumpy old man used to be an eco warrior.
right. Okay. Thank you very
Lovely.
much, Nev.
Thanks, Nev.
Thank you.
Thank you for showing them.
And next we've got some pictures from John, G0MXN. And here they are. So the first one, now he says this is one of his favourites. It's the last flight of the Vulcan at RAF Cosford. This is from the Red Arrows on the 24th of June 2015, taken from a cliff top at the Lowestoft Air Show. And this one, and he says, I think this is my favourite. So that's obviously just a much more close up. That's quite something, isn't it? Take a picture like that when it's moving.
Yeah, lovely. This one, I like this one.
Yeah. And he says there that this just shows how close they were. Right-hand aircraft is cutting through the red smoke from the other plane. Goodness. And they're all taken from the cliff top at Lowestoft, as he says. And all taken, by the way, with a Canon EOS 5 with a zoom lens. So those of you who are interested in photography, that's how he did it.
Lovely. Go straight into the next one.
Yeah.
We've got KM7NTY next.
Yeah, she's sent over these pictures that we thought we might like to use.
This one shows the beach hut and the sunset on Cromer West Beach in 2017, taken with an iPod Touch. It's a great picture for not a sort of proper camera.
Top end,
as
yeah,
you'd,
that's right.
Sort of say. The gull captured entirely by accident.
It's a beautiful picture, isn't
It's
it?
lovely, isn't it? Really good. Just shows you what you can do with a phone, doesn't it? This one is a waterfall in Will Giles's incredible exotic garden in Norwich. It was around 2008. And this was taken with a Nikon Coolpix 3100.
That's, again, the colours in that. And excuse me, I mean, something like that, I just wouldn't have guessed that was something in Norwich. So I don't know where Will Giles's garden is, but that is incredible, isn't it? Beautiful.
Lovely. Excellent. Thank you, Kay. Lovely.
Well, now, the next pictures that we're going to look at come from Tony M0TDK. So, Tony, I don't know if you can unmute, please.
Yes,
and there we are.
Good evening.
Good evening to you. Let's have a quick look at you. Good to see you.
Not a pretty sight.
Well, you've sent us a couple of pictures, haven't you? The first one...
I think the first one's actually a little
video. That's right. So, do you want to talk us over this?
Yes, I was walking through my garden and I just saw a cloud of butterflies. And whipped the iPhone out and failed to photograph them very well. But this is a sort of collection of photographs. There was probably, 30, 40, 50 of these things, but they all fly away when you come close.
So, lots of them, you say?
Oh, there was a vast number of them, yes. I mean, that what you can't see is that there's also some plum trees there, and I think they were all feasting on the plums.
Lovely.
Okay, well,
But there was a very large number of them. I've never seen that many butterflies in one place before.
No. Fantastic. All right. Well, let's now. Now, this is a picture of an albatross. So, tell us about this.
Well, long ago and far away, I was probably about 17 or 18 when I took this. I don't know whether you remember cassette cameras. I mean, they were basically a development of the box Brownie. Fixed focus, you point them and hope, and it was on colour film, obviously. But this bird is a very big one, and he's probably about a 2-meter wingspan or more.
Wow.
And they follow behind ships. So this is taken somewhere in the South Atlantic. I don't remember exactly where, but it'll have been, I don't know, somewhere near Tristan da Cunha or somewhere like that. If you look at the top of the picture, from the center of the top to the right, you can see the horizon. So you get an idea that up is not necessarily in the direction of the picture.
Oh, yeah, I see.
That's what you mean, yes.
Yeah.
But if you look at the bird, I mean, given this is taken with a very crude old camera, I'm quite pleased with it. But it captures the sort of greyness of the sea there. And if you look at the bird closely, you can see his feet tucked up at the back, his head's to the right. And he's just sort of turning towards us as he comes across the wake of the ship. As I say, it's taken a long time ago.
And you did put in your note to us, you said that traditionally seafarers viewed them as the lost souls of drowned sailors.
Yes, it's sort of an old-fashioned rumour. But yes, the way they follow ships, and they seem to be almost devoted to them. But tradition has it that they're the souls of drowned sailors, and that somehow makes more sense if you're on a ship alone in the South Atlantic. I actually have probably about 400 pictures on coloured slides taken in those days, which I've got to figure out some way of digitizing, because there's some interesting shots there, some of which might interest you. But this is just one I pulled out of the pack because I remembered it well.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you, Tony, for sharing those with us.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Next, we've got a picture, just one picture, but it's a stunning picture from Peter M0VRA. And says, this photo is a red admiral butterfly gorging itself on a Michaelmas daisy. It took several attempts to take this picture, but this is the best of many. I mean, the detail there.
It's just the colours as well, isn't it?
Everything about it, yeah. That is the, I mean, just, I don't know how you can, if you can see this as clearly as I can at home, but, there is every bit of detail in the antenna and everything. Fantastic picture.
Great.
The next, these pictures now are coming from Colin, M0GMK. And he says, attached is a photo I took in younger and fitter days of a friend I made at... Go, Tammy, come on. Your pronunciation expert. Made at...
Machu Picchu.
Oh, I can't believe... Right, Machu Picchu. It's a llama, but being a Spanish speaker, the Lula is pronounced Y as in llama. So it's really a llama, I guess. And then next...
A llama.
A llama.
A llama.
You're very good at this pronunciation. It's a hidden talent that I've never seen before.
No, it's just called guesswork. And you don't know any different.
Oh, I see.
I've
right.
let the cat out now.
Oh, look, Tammy, another
a
train. He says here, this is a train that took us from, actually, just you tackle this one.
Okay, thanks. You could have told me earlier. I could have.
Yeah, I should have got you to read this whole thing. There we are, Tammy, you read this. For David.
Oriente Tambo.
Is it? Okay. To...
No, actually, if it's what he just said about the Y, it's Oriente Tambo.
To...
Oh, to Anguas Calientes. There you go.
For onward bus transfer to...
Machu Picchu.
And it runs on a 3-foot gauge track.
And if you got all that description, you're doing better than we are.
That's really good, though.
You're going to read it properly now.
Me?
Yeah.
No. You're going to do that, aren't you?
Here is the train that took us from Oriente Tambo to Anguas Calientes for onward bus transport to Machu Picchu. It runs on a 3-foot gauge track. There you go. That's my best guess.
I think that's really good.
Right, let's move on quickly. Right, the next picture we've got is Les. And
Okay,
I think
and
Les
he's here,
is
isn't he?
on our call.
He is, so let's
So
go to
if you
Les,
wanna
if you don't mind
unmute
unmuting.
Les.
Yeah, I'll unmute him. There we are. Hello, Les.
Well, David, and good evening, everybody. I understand you must be into trains then, David.
A little bit, yeah, just a little, aren't I, Tammy?
Just a
Occasional.
little.
I've got a passing interest in that as well, actually, but...
I think it often, I don't know what it is, Les, but trains and models in particular, and radio and things like that, they all seem to go together. Whether that's because we're geeks, I don't know, but that's what my wife thinks.
I've also got, coming up on the screen here, is low bandwidth that keeps coming up, so I hope I can go through okay.
Okay, well, we can certainly hear you okay, so let's show us show your picture.
Yeah, we can.
Now, we couldn't see the if we showed the bottom as well, it wouldn't have showed up. But I have got a bigger blow-up of it here if you don't remember what that was. But you probably remember where that picture was taken. Anyway, I'll leave it to you to explain.
Yeah, yes, obviously the picture is coming from a newsletter, and as you can see, it's printed, it's 1997 as well. I've always kept it because after I took the picture, the middle guy there, Ivan, G3KLV, sorry, I've got his course on right here, KLT, sorry, some time ago, done something, I wasn't quite sure what he did. He sort of knelt down or did something in the middle there. So that little man in the middle is not actually a little man at all. He's actually reasonably tall. Probably at the underneath the picture, although you can't see it, there's some text. So if I just read the text out, you'd probably understand it a bit more.
Thank you.
It says, is it okay?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, okay. It said a picture of club members taken during their visit to Bletchley Park early in the year. During the visit, we were shown, amongst other things, the collection of radio equipment that Dave White, G3ZPA, has put together. Dave very kindly came in especially to give us a guided tour. Credits Les who took the photo, James who scanned it, John who helped me to get it the right way around. Then it goes on to say, no, I don't know why Ivan is standing in a hole. There's always one, isn't there? So, I've always kept this one because every time I look at it, I just think, oh no, I can't tell. I've got to keep this. It's such a strange thing to do, David. I mean, literally all I did was put the camera up and took the picture. I didn't actually compose anybody. It's so strange. The little Ivan in the middle G3KLT was, and he sort of reminded me of years ago. I think in the sort of like 1920s or something. It's like a little short French guy or something, and he sort of looks like him. But we had a lovely walk. We had a lovely walk around Bletchley Park. And this is 1997, remember, David, and the place was needed a lot of restoring and TLC. We were taken round by Dave. He was the chairman of the Milton Keynes Radio Society, and we got our own guided tour, so it wasn't with other people there. It was in the evening, and went inside there, and there's paint coming off the walls, there's cobwebs, and we had to look around Colossus. You just went up to it, touch all the valves, and goodness knows what. So it was a dodgy time as well, because there was a housing estate which was right on the outskirts of the estate, which was encroaching onto the estate, and there was talk of demolishing the whole thing and giving way to a housing estate. And I must admit, the Milton Keynes Radio Society did a lot of work in this respect, kept pushing things and saying how important the site was. So there's a lot of credit to them, to be quite honest. I don't think that's ever been mentioned. But anyway, it's all changed now. I've been down there a good few times, and I'm not so keen on it now. But I must admit, it's just my way of looking at things from the past. But it's sort of a lot more informative for people now to go and have a look. And I understand why they've done what they've done, but it's quite sad what it wasn't like it is now.
Well, there is quite, well, I must share with you, and it's just total coincidence that Tammy and I were there Saturday.
Were you really?
Yeah,
right. Okay.
We were filming for something for the RSGB for the convention at the National Radio Centre, which is there, as you probably know. But also next, on the back of us, where we were filming from, there was one of the older huts, and that was where the Milton Keynes Radio Society meets. So I don't know if you knew that's where they meet now. So we didn't go in there or anything, as it was all locked up, but we did see it. So I mean, I guess at Bletchley Park they have smartened up a lot of it now and made it, I suppose you've got to say, it's quite commercial but very smart, and as you say, lots of hands-on exhibits and things. But there's also an awful lot of it which is still in its traditional sort of fairly ramshackle state, I guess. But I mean, that keeps the tradition. So I don't know what their plans are for the whole place, but it's massive, isn't it?
Well, it's more of educational theme park now, isn't it? All the sort of displays, and where they've done all the sound and the vision inside the different rooms, and obviously we've also got the National Radio Centre there now, haven't we? So it's all pretty good stuff down there at the moment. But no, I look back, to that particular time when I walked around it with all the dust and the cobwebs and so forth, and I don't know. It's like they had left, but they'd left it in a bit of a state when they left. They'd gone out the other door, so to speak.
Well,
so,
I think there's a bit of everything there, really, and if you walk about and see it. But anyway, thank you ever so much for sharing that memory and that picture with us, Les. Thanks ever so much.
Thank you. No
Great.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Now, Dodge M0TTN, someone we haven't seen for real for quite a while, but he sent us some pictures as well. Let's have a look at those, Tammy, if we could, please. I don't have a caption for all these, but that is a really good head-on shot. I don't know where he was to get that, but if he had some chips in his hand, my guess is he'd have one less chip at the end of it. That's my guess.
Lose his whole bag of chips, I think, for that.
Oh, look at
those.
That says something as well, doesn't it? That picture.
Get off my food.
That one's in full flight, look.
Yeah. Lovely things, aren't they?
Yeah. Seems a long time ago now, but that very cold weather.
Yeah. It's coming soon, though. I hate to depress everybody.
Don't say that, don't say that. As some of you know, Dodge is a taxi driver. For a living, and this is him at the Walnut Tree pub in Norwich. And finally, this picture is of his cat called Crispy. He's a pure white rag doll, he says.
Look at the eyes, lovely colour eyes. Really pretty.
Thank you for sending us those, Dodge. Next up are pictures from Paul, G3VPT. And the first one, well, we ought to see it really. We know this bloke is, don't we?
Driver experience.
Yeah, look at that. I don't know what that was. It was obviously on a BR Green train. Another train, Tammy, it's 3.
There's another train.
I didn't put them up to it, honestly. It says, this was a holiday in mid-Wales. We just couldn't keep him away. He does like dressing up. That's what Paul says. Bob looks really at home there, doesn't he?
He does.
Hard work, though. If he was being fireman, goodness me.
Yeah.
Very hard work. And the other picture, only Paul could come up with a caption like this. So this is a quote. This should make you smile. That's me in Greece in front trying to get my leg over. Unquote. All right. That's just saying.
Only
that's
Paul.
what he said. Yeah, only him. All right. Thanks for sending us those pictures, Paul.
Lovely.
Now, the next ones we've got the person here as well. It's Tony MG0MQG. So, Tony, if you can unmute, please. And there we are. We can come to you now. Hello, Tony.
Hiya. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Yep.
Ah, wonderful. Right.
So we've got some pictures here that you sent us. Thank you very much. Let's have a look at those.
Right. Now, this one, it was one morning, a couple of months ago. I just got up. It was fairly early in the morning. I was in the kitchen making the coffee, as always, and I heard a helicopter fly over unusually low. So out of curiosity, I went out into the back garden to have a look just in time to see the air ambulance, as you see it there, dropping down behind a bungalow off Oval Road, which is right near where I live in Cossey. So I grabbed the camera and nipped out in the back garden, out the back gate, and down on the Oval Road, which you can do from mine. And that was what I got. The helicopter had landed. As you can see, the router blades are still going around. The engine's still running. Mm-hmm. And it landed there. It was there for about 20 minutes or so. And that second picture is when it took off to fly off back to wherever it came from, which I don't think was Norwich Airport because I went in the opposite direction. I'm not sure on that. And they had landed for about 20 minutes. Never picked anybody up. There's 2 crew on board, a pilot and I presume the other fellow was a doctor. And he walked off up on Norwich Road and he was gone about 10 or 15 minutes and came back. Now I know the reason for that, but I don't think it's prudent to mention it on here.
No, but presumably someone didn't need to go to hospital in the end. That's probably why, isn't it?
If I just say it was worse than that, I'm sure you can, imagination will tell you the rest.
Yeah, and you said that the pilot was very clever to avoid all the telephone and electricity cables.
You can't see it all in the picture here, and the camera I was using was a little digital instamatic type thing, so it doesn't have a zoom lens or anything like that. But although you can't see them in the picture, there's rather a lot of telephone cables and just out of camera shot, some 3-phase electricity cables nearby, as well as all the surrounding trees, which are also just out of shot. And I thought he'd done quite well to land out there with all the hazards around him. But he'd done a perfect job, and when he took off, he went straight vertical. It didn't deviate from being above the spot where he'd landed until he was well clear of any surrounding obstacles. And then he turned the helicopter was facing very roughly north, as you see it there.
Yes.
And he turned it round, faced southwest, and then flew off in the general direction of the NNN. I don't know whether that's where he was going or not. But as I say, they didn't pick anybody up.
Okay. Now, another couple of pictures.
When I had the opportunity of taking that, I thought, I've got to get this picture.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's very good, isn't it? Especially from a basic camera.
For those of you who are not sure where it's taken, if you know Norwich Road in Cossey, you go up Norwich Road, which is where I live, turn in between the little hardware shop and the paper shop. That's Oval Road, and about 300 yards down there, probably less than that, there's a little roundabout where he landed it. So,
tell us about this. I mean, I think we can just about see on there Caroline.
Yeah, well, that is the Ross Revenge. If Chris G4 think I got your call signs right. Chris, G4CTX, and Rodney, G0CVO were listening. Good evening. Chris and Rodney both came with me. That was a few years ago at the club. It was announced that there was an opportunity of visiting Radio Caroline. Those of you who know me fairly well know I'm a great fan of 1960s music. I was a teenager in the 60s. And I used to listen to this sort of thing in my bedroom. And a little later in the 1970s, when I was studying OND electronic engineering, I'd be doing my homework in the bedroom. That's a closer picture. I'd do my homework in the bedroom with Radio North Sea International, for those of you who remember that.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Playing in the background. And when the opportunity came to visit Radio Caroline, I eagerly grabbed at it. And the three of us went down there in my car, and we had a guided tour. I believe they still do the guided tours. So I had a look on their website the other day, and I think they're still doing them. So if you can get down there and you book yourself a slot, and on you go. I'm a bit out of date how much it costs. And they ferry you out there, and you don't have to sort of climb over the side of the ship. There's a little doorway there, and you come right up against the side of the ship, and they open this little doorway, and you just step through. So if you're a little bit infirm, you can still get on board. And it was quite an interesting tour. You get to see around the studios, the radio transmitters, the generators, and all the rest of it.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what other people's views on pirate radio are, but it was part of my youth.
Well, it started off so many. I mean, it broadened broadcasting, and think of the number of people as well who started their career. Tony Blackburn, I think, was one of the first ones, wasn't he, on there?
Yes, I believe he was. There was a story, I don't know if it's true or not, but they had a fault on the aerial, and I believe that was on Caroline, but not this ship. It would have been the Mia Vigo, I should think. He climbed the mast to repair the aerial. I don't know if that story is true or not.
I haven't heard that one.
I don't think Tony would want to do that now. He must be the wrong side of 70.
He does. As you see pictures of him come up on my social media sometimes, though, he does look amazingly well. He still does broadcasts every week from Radio 2 and a couple of local radio stations as well. So
yeah, he does a Sound of the 60s show at 6 a.m. on a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
I always get up to listen to it.
Extraordinary. Anyway, thank you very much, Tony. Thanks very much for sharing those pictures with us.
That's okay.
Thank you. Lovely pictures. I mean, I wish I'd have gone now on that radio car. I think I couldn't, but I wanted to. So I must go and have a look at that, because I was one of those kids as well who sat under the sheets listening. You won't remember that one, you? No. Oh well. Now, Phil G4LPP sent us this picture here. Have a look at this. That's stunning, isn't it?
Just so still and
That's the word, isn't it? Still. It's just a tiny bit of reflection.
Lake Louise. It is. In Canada. Lovely. That's another lake in Canada as well. The clouds there as well. It's lovely.
Again, the detail of those droplets on that rose.
A rose in our back garden. That's what Phil says. It's like, they're all waterproof, don't they? You know how when you have like a waterproof coat, you get like the little droplets of water.
Yes.
It's like natural waterproof.
Repellent sort of thing, so that the water can't sort of get into it. Yeah, it's extraordinary, isn't it? Another couple of good pictures from him here. Look at this. Is that sunrise or sunset?
Sunset. 2 pictures of sunset over Sutton. There's another one. Look at that. It's like it's on fire, isn't it?
Every shade of red and yellow and orange and everything.
Yeah. Really great.
Thank you very much, Phil, for sending us those. Now, we've got a bit of a difference now. We've got another video, and this one has been made by James M0UKS As some of you know, he's very keen on what's called storm chasing. Most of us try and avoid them, but he's one of these people that gets in his car and goes and finds them. So he's made this little video for us. So sit back, get yourself a drink and have a look at this. Thank you, James. Wow.
Wow.
Like I say, most people... Now, if you've just tuned in and you think we're just giving you the weather forecast, no, at least I don't think it's going to be like that in the next day or so. Thanks very much to James M0UKS, Storm Chaser Extraordinaire, who made that video for us and was working until the early hours, in fact, to finish that. So thanks, James. I hope you enjoyed that.
It's a little bit scary as well, though, actually.
I just wouldn't be going towards the weather. I'd be going away from it, I think, there. But well done. Now, next, we've got some pictures from Neil G4JUV. And he says, this is a tribute to older hams influencing newcomers. These photos are from Neil's old school. The shack was built by Paul G3BGL, who also published articles in The Bull, now Radcom. Note that the bus steering wheel rotator in the note the bus steering wheel rotator.
What's in here?
Oh, that bit, that's it. In the foreground is a homebrew. I guess we've got these maybe around the wrong way. Sorry about that. So maybe if we flip back, can we, Tammy, for a moment? In the foreground is a homebrew HF SSB rig built by G3BGL, who used to work for the BBC as a transmitter engineer. So this was right up his street. Neil, G8DLY, now G4JUV, sadly, he's operating the homebrew 2-meter crystal-controlled 130 watt AM rig with the help from his younger brother. Note the AR88D with a new Vista VHF to HF converter. And Neil says, in 50 years, electronics has progressed, but sadly, school chairs are still the same.
That's true.
Isn't that true?
It's true.
Never a truer word.
Just pop the other picture back up as well.
Yes. And there's the positions there, look, written with paint on there, where to line the antenna up to get to various places. I think one says possibly Brecon, and the other one says Lyneham. Lyneham, yeah. Thanks, Neil. They're brilliant pictures, aren't
Lovely. Yep. Go straight to the next picture.
they? Yeah. Now this is something. When we first saw it come in, and we thought, wow, this is like something someone's done with Photoshop, but apparently not. This is from John G8CHP and says, I took this photo on a film camera in the late 1990s. So not that long ago, really, in relative terms. It's a jet pilot having fun creating a halo. Wow. Do you think the colour of it is just because of the rest of the sky, isn't it?
Yeah, you know how when you get a sunset, how it's actually the sun reflecting off the cloud that makes the lovely things. So it's
so the vapour trail is
vapor.
just taking the colour of that.
Yeah.
Fantastic picture.
Excellent.
Thank you, John.
Lovely. Got another sunset picture here. Look at that.
This is from Colin, G0ODR. I don't know where that was. We haven't got any words for that, but I guess... But you know what? That could be somewhere like Great Yarmouth. Yes, exactly. There's that bit which goes out with the Coast Guard station at the end, or the pilot, where they see all the boats coming in, where the pilots are. I wonder where that was. But beautiful colour.
Really lovely. Excellent. Thank you.
Now, next we've got some pictures, and these are from Mike G8EEY. And this first one, he's called Catton Park Autumn Dusk.
Just see the sun peeking through there.
This one is Catton Park Autumn.
I think that's a similar thing, isn't it? A similar place.
Similar place, yeah.
I mean, place for the picture, I actually meant.
Now, the next one is going to be interesting. Before we show it, we'll just tell you that what he's called this next one, it's called Catton by the Sea. And I know what you're thinking, because that's what I thought. But look at this. Wow. Catton by the Sea.
Yeah. The next one is actually similar, and it's called So This Is Summer.
Oh, yes. Distant memories, sort of.
Yeah. That is a lot of water.
That is. Look at the tyre of the car. It's showing a few inches of depth there. The next picture is variegated Norway maple. Now, we're not quite sure which way around these pictures, so forgive us, but he said, this is Mike, remember, G-A-E-Y, he says, yours truly at the pre-record for the G&S Princess Ida at the Madder Market in 2012. He's got a Canon camera there. I don't know if that's... I was trying to think of 2012, if he'd been working, because he used to work for the BBC in Norwich, or whether he's retired then. But anyway, it's quite a sophisticated camera set up there. And there's another picture here. And for one of those, at least, he says the longest continuous action following shot was 82 minutes. That is a lot of work. I mean, when you see a camera operator, you don't really think it may be the most difficult job, but to follow somebody for 82 minutes, that might be a single camera.
Yeah, I guess if you've just got one camera
single camera
and
setup.
a show,
yeah,
then,
you've got to keep on it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. But if anybody would know how to do it, it's someone like Mike, who is a BBC engineer. The rigs, the stuff on that. Look at the size of the lens. Anyway, thank you very much, Mike, for sharing those pictures with us.
Thank you.
Now, the next pictures, we've got quite a lot of pictures from John, M6JAU, and he said he would join us tonight. So, John, it's good to see you, and we'll come to you now.
Unmute.
If you could unmute. There we are, and we can hear you as well. John.
So, I'm here.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you and see you. It's fine.
Good.
Lovely. Let's go to your pictures.
So we've got your lots of pictures. I've got the captions you wrote here, but if you can remember them, I'll let you talk about them.
Yeah, I took advantage of the Heritage Open Days over the last week, and I was really going to Fulham St Mary, but on the way I passed through Fulham Market and found they'd got a carnival going on, and amongst the vehicles in the procession that was being set up, there was this very strange thing that I'd never seen one of these before. I don't know if anyone else has. It's an Italian-built van with a Lambretta engine. They were mostly sold in France, apparently, called a Willen. And if you look at the people inside, you'll realise how small it is.
Well, aren't they? And I'm not sure if everybody at home can see this, depending on whether they're looking at it on a big telly or a small iPad. But it's Batman and Robin, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So I think it's probably something to do with maybe the Fools and Horses would be my guess. Take on it.
They had got the Trotters Trading logo on the side, with the usual, what was it, London, Paris, and some small village in the middle of Norfolk somewhere.
It's lovely.
Look at the tiny size of those wheels.
Yes, absolutely.
And you can see the leaf spring right across the car there underneath the front suspension.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess it's the sort of thing now, as you say, it was a Lambretta engine with a made in Italy. It's the sort of thing maybe you'd see a coffee. There's a lot of these instant pop-up coffee shops, maybe.
Possibly.
It's getting on a bit. Well, that's a lovely picture.
Certainly a two-stroke engine with a lot of smoke. I didn't catch it when it was smoking, but I did wonder if the two ladies in the background were challenging it to a race.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah, so then I went on to Fulham St Mary. Strangely, a little village in Norfolk was a centre of British airship action from the First World War through into the 20s and maybe even into the 30s. Partly to chase off German submarines and patrol boats. They built it far enough inland so that it was out of range of battleship shells. But once the war was over, they still carried on doing civil airship operations from there. There was one extraordinary story of one that broke away from it got windy overnight. It broke away from the mast. It ripped the whole front off the airship. It blew across the North Sea to Holland and Germany, where the people on the ground volunteered to help land it. And the crew said, "No, we're okay." And they flew it all the way back to Fulham for the morning. This sort of flying wreck. This was nearby again. I'm a bit of a fan of Second World War things like pillboxes and so on. And this is at the roadside. I think it's probably Dickleborough.
So it's on the sort of Suffolk-Norfolk border then, probably.
Yeah, it's a rather fine example. No, there is a field entrance right next to it. You could get into the field and you could get inside the pillbox. It was in very good condition. You see, there's no graffiti, no rubbish inside. Some of them are in a terrible state, but that one's good. And a lot of them are under threat of being demolished for various housing estates. We'll see about that one. Yeah, this was a little bit further down the road. This is Thorpe Abbott's Airfield Museum. I got talking to they had a sort of meter and greeter in the car park, and I said I'd just come from that other pillbox, and he never mentioned the fact that this disc of concrete you see in front of you is actually a pillbox.
Oh,
that's a thing called a Pickett-Hamilton pillbox, and it's got a hydraulic system to raise it out of the ground. Fairly common on airfields. The idea was that planes could taxi over it, and then you could lower it down, out of the way. Only pop it up when you needed it. But I can't imagine a Flying Fortress taxiing that close to the control tower, so that's a bit strange. just visible under that tree to the left. Yeah, there was this thing. Yeah, under the tree you can see a little white speck to the left, and that's what you're going to show in the next picture, which was a battlefield headquarters. Every airfield had one of these hidden away somewhere. They were usually completely underground, but apparently there were ground condition problems with this one, and they built a big mound of earth. That's just in someone's supposedly private wood, but as the man at the museum said, everybody goes up there, there's a footpath to it. And there was nothing to stop you walking about inside, apart from the fact that it was ridiculously dark. You just couldn't tell what you were doing. This was the next item. This was, there's a museum near Bury called Great War Hut, where they're collecting huts from the First World War and displaying interesting things in them. And this was a special event they did, Draws for Wars. So it's all about military underwear.
Oh, sorry. Do you want to just pop that back up again,
okay.
John? Sorry.
Yeah.
Draws for Wars.
Wow.
Lovely.
One of the pictures, like one of the photographs they've got was Joanna Lumley's father in his vest.
As you do.
Showing off his military vest. And they were telling me that a modern military underwear has got built-in antiseptic and antibactericide, so that you can wear it for months if you really have to without it being washed. And it also is designed to catch shrapnel fragments.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Amazing,
Yeah, they just wouldn't have thought that of underwear, would you?
No, not at all.
No. And while I was there, the man just said, of course, the village has got a spigot mortar now. I thought, well, that's interesting, because I don't think anyone knows about that. And he told me where to find it. And I went and had a look. And the landowner happened to be around the front of his house. So I said, can I have a look? And he came and gave me a guided tour of it. So this is a mounting for a special sort of anti-tank weapon that they used in the Second World War. Some towns have got lots of them. Some villages have got one, as demonstrated here. And yeah, when I got home, I discovered it really wasn't on the official database. No one knew it was there, except the landowner and the locals. So it's now been added to the official database.
Wow, lovely.
Heritage Open Day event was off to the Burrell Museum in Thetford, where they've got, this is actually their paint shop, but in it they've got them displayed this traction engine. They were major manufacturers of traction engines, possibly the most major. I limited myself to one photo of each event, but right behind that there's Jonesy's van from Dad's Army.
And talking of which, actually...
Yeah. Not very far away in Thetford, you find this. Which you'll note they've carefully designed to have a spare piece of seat each side so you can have your friend sit with going on the mannery.
I can picture where that is now. I can see the Bell Inn behind there, so that I could just about picture where that Manger Junction is in Thetford, yeah.
Yeah, there's a very decorative bridge just behind him.
Yes.
And just the other side of the bridge, there's an unusual pillbox, because it's covered on the outside with flint, so it blends into the wall. It's camouflaged by the build. Apparently, there's one of those spigot mortar mats as well behind the wall. This was elsewhere in Thetford. I went looking for it, found another spigot mortar mat. This one was known. This was on the database already.
Cool.
Next day, I went to Hornsett, which is just into Norfolk again. Well, in the Wroxham area, I think, where they've got an extraordinary collection of steam engines on a farm. And that one there is 4 stories high. You can see 3 stories. The 4th one is underground. I'm not sure what that was used for, but they have got a steam engine that actually powered Tower Bridge originally.
Blimey.
No, that's something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Huge collection there.
Yeah,
they do normally have them operating in steam, but the law has required them to renew all their steam pipes for safety reasons. They're halfway through that operation, so they have one central boiler that powers them all, and so none of them are working at the moment. That's again at Fawnset, so it's halfway between Fawnset and on Stratton, the tank museum. One heck of a gun. Do you think they lower it and point it at the entry gates at night? You will not burgle our premises.
It's somewhere I've been meaning to go, John, and it's not very far from here at all where I live. But I just still haven't been to the tank museum. I must do that.
They've got a lot of stuff. I have been to a day when they had lots of demonstrations. You could even have a ride around in a tank, and they had Guy Martin's First World War tank reconstruction that he did for a TV show.
Well, thank you very much. It looks like a wonderful few days travelling not very far, which is a message for, I suppose, us all, really, that we don't have to go a long, long way to see lots of interesting things and places on our doorsteps.
I thought I'd show us. I thought most of the members would be interested in technological subjects, so I put some of those together rather than birds and bees and things.
Yeah. Well, thank you ever so much, John. Thanks for sharing all of those. That's John M6JAU. Thank you.
Lovely.
A few more pictures to go. I know it's getting on a bit, but we're on our last page of things now. It's incredible variety of pictures. The next picture comes from Sue M0SZ. I like that. It's good, isn't it? I'll give you a chance to take it in, and then I'll read you what she says. And she says, enhanced bike parking security at the City of Norwich School, which of course is the club's main base in normal times anyway. And her husband is Thomas M0TEO, and he sent us this. This is private Gunton Park in North Norfolk. It's even quite selective about the animals that it welcomes. I like who it's signed by.
Toad.
Toad, yeah.
Toad. Lovely. Thank you.
Now, the next pictures that we've got someone online as well. It's Michael, 2E0SZP, and I'm glad about that because we didn't actually get any words, Michael. So maybe if we can come to you and have a chat and see, and you can take us through some of your pictures. So good evening to you, Michael.
Good evening, David. Good evening, everybody. Let me get myself. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you fine. Yes.
Brilliant. Okay. If you like to put the first one up.
Before we put the pictures up, Michael, I'd like you to flash that book you were flashing a little while ago because I don't think anybody at home saw it.
Somebody was, yes.
I just happened to catch it.
Have you got?
Move it to the other side. That's it.
There you go.
Cover your face with it. Oh yes.
That was a birthday card from my daughters.
Oh, it's a card, is it? I thought it was a book.
No, it's I think based on the
is it the Ladybird book?
The Ladybird books, yeah.
Please, Michael, don't give my wife any more ideas about things like that.
It's quite funny because I never used to get birthday cards, but now the rude ones are out. I seem to get hundreds. I don't know why. And the more insulting, the more I get.
I know the feeling. All right, but anyway, you sent us these pictures, so talk us through these, please.
Right. Well, that is what I thought I would do is sort of continue with the animals in your backyard sort of theme. And all things that are close to you, and that was my backyard, my last house, and we had a peahen, so not a peacock, and the difference is the peacock is the handsome devil, and the peahen isn't, but she's the one that makes all the noise. That sounds as if somebody's being strangled. And she lived in my garden for a whole season, and then suddenly disappeared for some reason. I don't know why. but she was great company, and the dogs loved chasing her around the garden, and she liked pecking back at the dogs. So all good fun was had by all, I think.
Yeah.
So, right, okay. Well, that and the companion photograph are my two current dogs. Both of them rescued. We got them just before COVID kicked off, so we had a couple of months to sort of do a bit of training and get them to behave themselves. But by and large, the reason they're there is A, I like the pictures, and B, just to say how good a company they were to us. In fact, I think they gave us a reason to sort of get up in the mornings.
Absolutely, they are wonderful. We hadn't got them in quite that order, so we're just going to come back to you for a moment,
Right.
and then we're going to find that picture there.
There's
Here, there we are.
Right.
Oh no, I think that's the same dog. I'll tell you what, it's probably best if I just go through the pictures as I've got them.
Just go
and then
through
you
them, that's
can,
fine.
that's the next picture I've got.
Right, that's actually a swan. I don't know if you can realise that. And that was taken at Swan Sanctuary, which is near Portland. And absolutely thousands of swans come in there. They're encouraged to because they're very well looked after and they nest there. And I had an absolutely wonderful day. There is somewhere a picture of a little lamb.
Yeah, that's a little bit later on. The next one I've got is the...
Okay, so that's, I don't know if I pronounce it right, is it East Winch Seal Sanctuary? Yes?
Yes.
Beautiful picture, yes.
Well, that's one, my partner does seal wardening at Horsey, and she absolutely adores the seals, to the point where she'll stand there for sort of 3-4 hours on a Sunday and absolutely freeze on the top of the dunes, trying to stop people doing silly things. But of course, if they get injured or they're not surviving themselves, they get whisked off there. As a kind of a thank you, she was invited +1, and I was the +1, to come along and see what they do there. And that's a kind of a big tank, actually about the size of a reasonable domestic swimming pool. And so they had free range to sort of swim around there. You'll see a group shot later on.
Play.
Right. Okay. Well, this is our first dog. That was Ghosty, who again you'll see the thing because he's an Alsatian. But everybody reckoned he was one of the dire wolves off of Games of Thrones. So we had lots of people make a fuss of him, and he just took it all in his stride. He was absolutely wonderful. Nothing seemed to faze him at all. Never barked at anybody. Just wanted to have his corner, go out for his walk, eat something, and he was happy as Larry. However, the idea of the picture was some of the kids at the school I was working at said, "Could you bring in a photograph of him?" And I took in that. And one of the teachers said, "Why don't we do pictures, just eye pictures of the whole school, or sorry, the whole class?" There are about a dozen in this particular class. So I went in there one afternoon, took, I don't know, about 15 pictures, and cut them all down to eyes only. So we had sort of up on the board the dog and all these pictures of the children's eyes. The thing that was remarkable was that it was a special needs school, and some of them had varying difficulties of learning, and some had other problems. But the thing that did amaze me the most was that all they had up on the wall were pictures of eyes like this, and I've deliberately not put any in of the kids, because actually
No.
we felt I've actually got any anymore.
No, we wouldn't probably show those really
Right.
without permissions. But talking of eyes, the next picture, of course.
Right. Well, that's at the British not Falcon Society, Birds of Prey Society, which is near was near to the hangars at Cardington, where the airships and the current airship are doing their thing, and I think they're the new one, the Airlander, which I think had an unfortunate accident, is being rebuilt at Cranfield now. But that was sort of again an evening out, which I really did enjoy. That's about as far as it goes, as far as they are. Oh, that's East Winch again. And that little fella there is a little hedgehog, a male, I'm told. Probably, I think, about a week old. I mean, you can see by he's in somebody's hands and with the gloves on, obviously for his protection. This was before COVID, and absolutely brilliant. So going back to the Swan Sanctuary, part of the land that they have sheep on, I think mainly to keep grass clear. And this little fellow was about a week old, I think. And I just thought he was so lovely that he needed a photograph. So I took one. Bring up the next one. Oh, right, that's the other dog. One is Evie. That's Roxy. Not our names, that's the names they came with. And in fact, I believe that was their original names. But she's a bit of a head case. She's got springs in her feet and just wants to bounce up and down. But she's a beautiful dog, absolutely brilliant with kids. And we love them both to bits, really. That's as much as I can say on them. Right, that's my little friend Jake. That was, I think, that was the day I picked him up. And that was, I think, about 8 weeks after. He was 8 weeks old at that point. And he is a Welsh sheepdog, which are a bit different to Borders. And again, he's a lovely dog, but used to living outside. He didn't want to be in the house at all. So we let him roam the garden, and which he constantly had a good go at wrecking. But a real outside dog. East Winch again, and as you can see, they're having a family day out. And this is this pool, and this is the ramp where they can get in and get out.
They were really good at posing, weren't they?
Yeah, I thought so. Yes, I think somebody was standing behind me with a herring in their hand.
Yeah.
Oh, that's our peahen again, just from a different angle. I've already talked about her, but she did belong to the local pub, but she didn't like it. They found it a bit noisy, so she flew into our garden. That is Dunstable Downs, and that's some deer that were very, very, what's the word, scared of anything. They really were quite frightened, and I was quite pleased to get that shot, because it took me about an hour to do it. And in fact, you can see another one. That is the dunes, that is a muntjac, I think, on the dunes at Scrapby, and there is there is another picture, but I don't think I included that one. And
I've
they
got that
are
one.
by the side. Right, this is Woburn Safari Park, but there is a deer park there as well. And again, they're kind of used to people, but it's still a bit difficult. And it was a bit early in the season for the horns to grow, so that was about the best I could do.
That's lovely. What just sort of interest, because you've taken some lovely pictures there, as lots of people have tonight. What do you use? Is this a professional camera, or is this a phone camera, which are quite good nowadays?
No, it's a fairly basic Canon. It's a Canon 6D, 6D Mark II, and the only difference between it's the bottom of, if you like, the professional range. The 5D that somebody mentioned is the one that all the big boys play with. But yes, I was a professional photographer for about 5 years.
Oh, right.
But that was a long time ago.
Well, it's wonderful. Thank you ever so much, Michael, for sharing your collection of photos with us tonight.
Well, I will send in the other 170,000 as well, I think.
I think you're going to have to follow Nev for that, I think. So you have to get in the queue. Thank you ever so much for joining us, Michael.
No problem. My pleasure.
Now, next, we also got some pictures now from someone who's with us at home, and that's Ken, M0KJW. And I think, I say he's at home, it looks to me like he might be in the caravan, and it looks like to me as well Shirley is joining him. Hello to you.
Yeah, we are. We're not far from Newark in our motorhome, just having an overnight before we go on to the motorhome show in Lincoln. So looking forward to that.
Great, excellent. Well, thanks for joining us then, being out and about as well. Let's have a look at some of the pictures that you've sent us. So can you talk us through these?
That was our first holiday in Tenerife. We stayed in a place called Puerto de la Cruz, which was the old capital city of the old capital of the island. And we went to Loro Park, and they have this white tiger there. And I was following him with my camera, and he walked into just the ideal shot for me. I couldn't have got a better shot if I'd been able to pose him myself. It was just, it's probably one of my favourite all-time photographs. We use it for on our desktops and things like that. But Loro Park White Tiger in Tenerife.
It's fantastic,
lovely,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Now,
I took that one with a Nikon D70 and a 70 to 300 zoom, Tamron zoom. So I was able to get quite close with that.
Yeah. Lovely.
Now, these are mushrooms that were a lot closer to home. In fact, where we live on our park home site, we've got woods behind us. And at the start of the woods, there's some steps going up. And they were right where the steps and the gate to the woods are situated. And I believe they're called verdigris agaric. I'm here to be corrected, but I think that's what they call them. But they're... and that was taken with an iPhone 8. I got down low and got close in and took that with an iPhone. So, you can get some nice pictures with an iPhone.
Yeah, they are getting quite amazing, aren't they? Yeah. And finally, this picture here. I've got a lovely caption from you here.
I thought the caption would be better voiced by your master of languages.
Oh, well, there we go, Tammy. There you go, on the script.
Hang on, I've got to find it first.
Here.
What are you gobbling at, cobbler?
That was a sort of Norfolk Australian or something, I guess.
It wasn't really very
a bit Norfolk Australian.
I didn't have time to practice it. That's my excuse.
What are you gawping at, cobbler? It'd be more like
there
that, wouldn't
it?
it?
You should have done
something
it.
like that.
You did better, David. You did better. So this was taken when we were in a place called Bulli in New South Wales. We had the most wonderful Airbnb to stay in for 4 weeks, and we had a balcony that went out, sort of a good-sized patio, I suppose, more than a balcony, and it dropped down into the trees. at the end of it, and they had like a tin tray on the end of it, and every on the banister rail, and every morning you threw some seeds on there, and these birds, along with a variety of birds, came along, and that one just sort of was staring me out. So I don't know if
lovely.
he thought I was rude or not, but he's a yellow-crested cockatiel, I believe, cockatoo.
One morning we woke up to this terrible noise outside, didn't we?
Yeah.
And there was about 15 of them.
Wow.
All fighting.
All fighting and on the linen line and the fences. They just come for a meeting at ours.
Oh.
Wow.
It was a fascinating sight.
We have a lot of pictures of them and their associates we could bore you with, but we thought we'd better keep it down to 3.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's lovely. Thank you ever so much, both of you, and thanks for joining us tonight. And have a good exhibition this weekend.
Thank
you very much.
All
Take
right.
care, everybody.
Thanks for
Keep
joining
safe.
us. Lovely. Okay. And next, getting there now. But Moy M0MUI sent us these pictures and says, sorry for the last minute submission. Just sending you a few to join in the fun. And I'll read another bit in a moment.
Wow, look at that.
It's
It's the vivid colour, isn't it?
It is. Again, it's
it's the contrast.
seat and a leaf, but it says autumn's coming, I think, sadly.
Yeah.
Now, she did actually say here, wonder if Jim would know what the mystery cloud ring is. Because that's not going to be a plane, is it? But it does look strange. So I don't know if Jim's watching. I haven't seen him on BATC as I normally do. So Jim, G3YLA, if you're watching this, or even if you're just watching the recording, maybe you can let us know and we'll read it out next week. We'll grab the picture back and we'll come back to Moy and say what it was.
Yeah.
It's extraordinary. Well, what can you say about this?
Look at the little ducklings.
Yeah.
So cute. And certainly not ugly little ducklings.
No, you're right.
No.
And the lovely water lilies and things.
Yeah.
Colours. It gets colour, isn't it?
Yeah. This one as well, colour.
Mm.
Really lovely. Excellent. Thank you, Moy. Very lovely.
Yeah, lovely. Thanks for sharing those, Moy. Next, we really are nearly there now, but we've got Kevin M0UJD. Late last night, he sent us a couple of pictures. So, Kevin, can we say hello to you first? How are you doing?
Hi, yeah, not too bad. Thank you. You?
Yeah, we're okay, thank you. We've seen a mammoth collection of photos. As I said earlier, we always worry that we're going to get enough to fill a show, but we've done more than fill a show, really, with these incredible pictures. So, this is the first one you sent us, so talk us through this.
This is just a typical picture of my daughter Phoebe, but it was taken with a special mode on an iPhone called portrait mode. So it's designed to mimic an SLR camera. So you've got the blurry background on the end of a long lens. It does it fairly well, to be honest. As you can see, it looks like a fairly good picture, but it's all fake, really. As I say, the background is blurred from the second camera, and Phoebe in the foreground her picture is with the primary, I think it's the 2x zoom. I think it uses the single zoom on the to blur the background or something like that. Anyway, it also, some of the phones do it with the single lens as well, somehow with software. But I think it's probably a little bit better with the 2 or 3 lens.
But that was all in the iPhone that did that. There was no processing afterwards.
No processing afterwards. It takes a picture and it takes a quarter of a second to process it.
Yeah, someone said a minute ago, it's amazing what you can do with an iPhone. I think it was Ken who said that. Or so that's and she's 6 going on 16, I think, isn't she?
Well, 5 going on.
Oh, 5. That's right. Yes, it's not almost 6.
Almost 6. Yeah.
Incredible.
Little monkey.
And the next picture.
Now this one again. Both these are taken on an iPhone 11 Pro Max. This one in particular, it's pitch black, absolutely pitch black. The phone is laying on the dashboard of the van in full nighttime mode. So this was probably a 3, 5, or 10-second exposure of Haysborough Lighthouse. And as I say, you couldn't see any of that. It was totally pitch black. But leaving the phone extremely still, not moving the van at all, sitting very still and just letting it do its work. I came up with that. I came up with a few images, but I think that was the best one out of all of them.
Again, just an iPhone.
Just an iPhone. Just an iPhone.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing that, Kevin. Actually, sorry, I've just got a phone call at the moment. Just hello. Oh yeah, Apple. It's Apple. You like the fact he's used an iPhone to take both his pictures. Really impressed. But you're not going to give him a brand new iPhone 13 Pro Max. Okay. All right, I'll let him know. Thanks very much. Anyway, bye. Sorry about that, Kevin. But anyway, nice try. It is, as you say, seriously. I mean, it is incredible what you can do with an iPhone. And I suspect a lot of the pictures, we don't know what everybody used tonight, but I suspect a lot of the pictures that were taken, that we've seen, are taken on phones. In fact, indeed, the filming I mentioned earlier on that we were doing at the weekend, we used phones with a bit of technology to link them together and for the sound. But they're becoming, the new sort of pro camera for a lot of people anyway. And of course, the great advantage, you've got them with you all the time.
That's the sad thing. I've got a lovely DSLR camera, but it spends 99.9% of its life in its case.
Yes.
Because this one's always in your pocket and always with you.
Well, as you know, with the same, we've got exactly the same camera actually, haven't we? With the Nikon SLR, but it's not very portable. You've got to remember to charge the batteries and everything, which you've always got a phone. So amazing. Anyway, thanks very much for sharing those two pictures with us, Kevin.
No problem.
Take care. Cheers, thank you. Now we're almost there. Now we really are, and there's just two people who haven't sent in pictures, or we haven't seen their pictures yet, and that is Tammy and me. So we aren't going to keep you too much longer. It's quite a long show. Is it mine first? Okay. First. So I'm going to take you through a few pictures that I just selected at random off my phone. I'll mention the phone. Mine, I've got a 12, so I've got even less likely to be upgraded. Anyway, let's have a look at this now. As you wouldn't expect to see a collection of pictures from me without a picture of a train. And what I loved about this was at Weybourne Station, by the way, from the model railway there. That, as you may know, I and Kevin and Tammy's family, we sort of run the model railway there. And this was going through this year. It's a mixed freight weekend is what it was called. But what I loved about it particularly was that bird's eye picture, because I remember as a kid having a model railway, which was my dad's really, and he got it, but it had one of those, and I'm going to shock my wife now and say that I want to find another one of those, because it had a model of that bird's eye container, which I imagine was fish from somewhere like Lowestoft being sent somewhere else for processing. And I want to get one of those little models.
So you want to buy another train?
Well, it's an excuse, a reason. So that's why I'm showing this picture. All right, the next picture. Well, you know who this is. But what's special about it? Tammy's the one underneath.
Thanks.
But look at that, the height of those things. What were they called, the variety of those?
American Giant.
They are live up to their name, and that wasn't the tallest one, was it?
No, but the tallest one decided it couldn't hold its own weight,
yes.
and so it's on like a 45-degree angle now.
Yeah, well, that's not propped up. That isn't. That is under its own weight. That is amazing. So American Giant. If you want to grow some tall sunflowers, try and get one of those.
I don't know. There's another picture. I don't quite know.
No, I'm not sure what you're doing there.
Why you've left that one in there? So I think we'll just skip past that.
Well, they can't hear the music that was playing.
No.
Now this picture here, Les will recognise this, I reckon, because when I went to see Brockdish a few weekends ago. I've took more pictures of this, and I'll show you in a few weeks' time. But this picture here, why I was so excited to see this was it's not very impressive really. It's just a reel-to-reel tape recorder. But as a kid, I loved technology, as you know, and maybe I shouldn't mention this time, but we used to go to Walcott holiday camp every year, and Dad would normally have bought some kind of gadget or camera or something to have got, and he got this reel-to-reel tape recorder, which I know nowadays you just laugh and scoff at, but for me, it's the memory, because it was exactly this one. I couldn't have told you it before I saw it, but as soon as I saw it, I knew what it was. I think eventually I had it to bits, probably, and messed about with it. But it's called a Sevox, just as it says, and there's lots of wonderful tape recorders and things like this, and radios and record players and even wax recorders there at the Brockdish Centre now. But this was just something that meant something to me, so that's why I'm showing that one. Now to you, Tammy.
Over to me. Right, this picture is not a very good picture. I will just say that. But it's what's behind it. It's a picture of Saturn, which was the first picture I ever took of Saturn, which is through an eyepiece on a telescope with my mobile phone. But it's the fact that, you know, when you're a kid, you see pictures of Saturn and you think, well, it doesn't really look like that, does it? You can't really see those rings.
They're pictures in a book, aren't they?
They're
In a
just
science
pictures
book
in a
or
book.
something. Yeah.
And the first time you actually look at it and you take a picture of it and you think, wow, it really does look like that. And you can really see the rings.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool.
And that was just, wasn't that just holding your phone to the eyepiece, you reckon?
Yeah, it was.
Quite a few years
so
ago, 10 years ago.
Yeah, it
or
was
something.
about 10 years ago or so, I think. So, yeah. So it's more about the story behind it rather than the picture on that one.
No, that's important too, isn't it?
Here's another one. The Northern Lights. Now, if you've seen the Northern Lights, you cannot explain to someone who has not seen them how they move.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I think the best word to describe them is a swirl.
Yeah.
And
almost, I mean, we went together, didn't we? We went on a Hurtigruten cruise to see the Northern Lights. So were they guaranteed to see the Northern Lights, or
you get another
you get another cruise?
Yeah.
So we were fairly sure we'd see them, but we weren't expecting what this looks like. And if you've seen them, you'll know what we mean.
There's
but
another one there.
They are moving.
They just literally
swirling. You're right.
Swirl.
It's a good word for it. Yeah.
And you can quite understand how people, years ago, thought it was the gods and that, and if they'd done something wrong and things like that. It's very cool. So we're fortunate enough to see them most evenings actually when we went, which was a lot of years ago now. Actually, wasn't it?
It was our first cruise, wasn't it? Yeah.
Must
But that was extraordinary.
7 or
If
8
you do
years
get the
ago.
opportunity,
Yeah.
those at home, to go, so a lot of these Norway companies in particular do have that sort of promise where if you don't see them, you get another cruise.
Yeah.
So it's a certain time of year, around autumn.
Yeah, but I think at the moment it's actually to do with the solar cycle, isn't it? Because we're at
yeah.
solar minimum. It's not not as great as we went at solar maximum in the last cycle, didn't we? So we did really have a good time. Just a couple more. This is just like we said earlier about the clouds. That's the sun that really reflects on the clouds. That just gives such vivid colours.
That's just out the back of a house.
Just out the back of the house, yeah. So, and then my last picture is a random picture. This is one of my favourite pictures because it's our happy place, which is the field out the back of the house. And unfortunately, 2 of the little critters there aren't with us anymore. But it was a happy place for us all to go and have a walk in the mornings. And we actually had 3 dogs rather than 2 cats and a dog.
So, we call them a little gang.
Little gang.
And so we walked, obviously, B there, and some of you will know B from when you've been here. And it was lovely to take her for a walk. And when we did get the 2 cats, and incredibly, after just a few weeks, they really kind of got on, because that was always my worry, introducing cats into a house with a dog who'd never seen cats except to chase them. And we used to take B for this walk in these fields behind us, and they would follow. And now, as Tammy says, sadly, we've lost B and Arlo. But
we do still take Denver
for
a walk sometimes.
Well, and Denver follows us. So
it does, yeah.
Yeah, we brought them up
as dogs.
As dogs kind of thing, to come for a walk. And now Denver will come for a walk with us.
Yeah, he will.
Which is extraordinary.
Yeah. So there you go.
Thanks for sharing. I didn't know which pictures you'd chosen, Tammy.
Yep.
That is it, everybody. It's been a marathon, really, because it's nearly 2 hours. And when we ran through, I mean, we had 6 pages of script for just the pictures, and I did think we might get to an hour and a half, but not to 2 hours. So thanks for bearing with us. But most importantly, of course, thanks to all of you who shared those pictures with us, because they have been incredible. All of them have got a story. Sometimes it's just because they are a beautiful picture. But as we've heard, it's in the last few minutes even, that a lot of them, it's about what it reminds you about. And it's lovely for you to share them with us for the Norfolk Amateur Radio Club. So we hope you've enjoyed them. Thanks also to everybody at home there, because I think all of these pictures, everybody at home now will say, we'll pass to you, and everybody at home on Zoom. Can we see them there? Yeah. So thank you very much to all of you for joining us, and to Bob, who joined us live from Heathrow Airport, which was a real surprise as well. So yes, good night to you all. Thank you very much for joining us.
Well, I'll just jump in quick.
Yes, of course. Paul.
Yeah, just a reminder there for Kevin, if you get a chance, just in case you haven't forgot, a little job.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks, David.
All right. Okay. Well, thanks again for all of you for joining us at home on Zoom, or whether you've been watching us as well on BATC or on Facebook. As always, thank you very much indeed. Just to let you know, then remind you that what's happening next week in the club on Monday the 27th. The GB3NB on GB3NB, we've got the Monday Night Net with Mike M0TVG hosting this week at 8:30. It's the 80-meter CW net. And next Wednesday here on NARC Live, the 29th of September, it's more on the end-fed half-wave antenna. Lots of you built these before, and the author of the original articles, Steve G0KY, will be here live next week to tell you more about those antennas, in particular how to make multi-band ones, and share with you what you can do with a relatively simple and cheap antenna, and how useful it can be, especially for portable use where you just want to sling up a wire. But that's it. Don't forget to let us have your stories and your pictures and everything for the news at the beginning of the show, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next week for NARC Live. So until then, from Tammy M0TC.
I'm just going to say something before we
go. Of course. Yeah.
I just want to say thank you to everybody who sent us all the pictures and videos and everything, and for you guys for joining us. And so we've filled 2 hours with your content.
It was incredible. I thought I'd said that, but if I didn't,
sorry.
Did
you? Well, perhaps I won't listen.
Doesn't matter, Tammy. We have a lot to do that you can't see behind the scenes at doing these things when we're interacting. But no, thank you ever so much to all of you, because tonight's show was really all about you. And don't forget, if you can think of anything for us to cover for future weeks to keep your club together, maybe it's a video or a guest or a speaker that you've seen or something like that, we would really love to hear from you, because we never had any idea that we'd be going on for this long. We must be on show 80 or 90 now. I have no idea.
I don't know, because I've stopped having the weeks with the shack now.
That's right. But please try and help back just by sharing with us some interesting guests or talks that you may be able to do as well. We would love to hear from you. But until next week at 7:30 on NARC Live, from Tammy and from me, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.